2. All right. Hello again. Welcome to the Fit and Fabulous podcast with your co-host Greg Fearon
and Gillian Davis. How are you doing, everyone? I hope you are all keeping well. I hope. I don't know whether we say that anymore. We'll see what happens. Hey?
You must be all right, yeah?
Yeah, we're all right at the moment, yeah. Gotta say to people, stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week's episode, we are joined by our lovely guest, the Miss Nicola Buckley. So Nicola is a head and heart coach, and we'll probably get her to talk a little bit more about what that actually is for those that maybe had never heard that before, and also about a little bit about what you do, Nicola. So yeah, let's start.
So Nick,
am I on? Okay.
Tell us about yourself. Where have you been hiding? What's led you to this point?
Oh my gosh. How long do we have?
Right, keep it short and succinct.
Shit, really? Okay. Put it all out in the first sentence. That's fine. Yeah. So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. We've already had 20 minutes chatting and giggling, so it's fun. So I am Nicola Buckley. I am the proud owner of a business called Strong Her You, and I am a head and heart coach. So I help female leaders and women who want more. I help them when they're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, a bit stuck on that old hamster wheel of keeping going. I help them to rediscover their clarity in who they are and their confidence to go after what they want and live a more happy and fulfilled life. And the other part of that is they also then have a bigger impact on the world. So head and heart coach is a completely made up term. I can say that I'm the world's leading head and heart coach. So I think I'm the only one that says that term. But I'm very, very good at what I do. But so the head part is I help my incredible clients. I teach them how to speak brain, basically. So I've created something called Noggin Knowledge. Noggin Knowledge is all about the neuroscience of the female brain. So I've spent 6-7 years geeking out on neuroscience, and I've taken everything that I've learned and I've put that into structures and ways of understanding the logic of emotion. So it's going to help you to understand, why do I say, think, feel, and do certain things that don't serve me? So why do I have these old habits that come back that don't serve me? Why do I self-sabotage? Why am I so hard on myself? Why am I my own worst enemy? And all the brain science that sits behind that. So we're dealing in facts rather than the fiction. We're dealing in data rather than drama. And these women are incredibly logical, yet also emotional. So that helps them to see that what they're doing and why they're struggling is not really their fault. And we can move away from judging and being hard on themselves and actually into, right, what am I going to do about it? So that's the head part. And I'm a complete geek and a very proud geek. I think when I was at school, it's a bit of a derogatory term. Now it's just like, I am a geek. I'm very proud of that. No problems with that. And the second part is the heart part. So I help these really incredible women. I help them to create time and space in their own minds and in their own lives, which they probably felt on their own was a bit of an impossible task, to actually come back to reconnecting to who they are and what they want. So what's in their heart? What do they truly want most? Because a lot of these women have achieved really incredible things. Even if they don't see it themselves, a lot of them don't see it themselves, and they've achieved all this success. A lot of people think, oh, I've got a great life and externally it all looks good. Internally, it's just not, it doesn't feel great for them. They're feeling stuck on the hamster wheel. They're having to make sacrifices between family and work. They're wondering what it's all for, and they're kind of asking themselves, is this it? Is this my life? I've got to where I wanted to be, but actually it doesn't really feel great. So I help them to really connect back to their heart and kind of just clear away all the layers of comparing and social media and what they feel they should be doing to actually what they want to be doing. And I do all of this work through online programs. I have 5-day challenge, and then I have programs that follow on from that. I have a group program, VIP programs, and workshops and retreats. So yeah. Is it worth telling you the story of how I've ended up to be?
Yeah. So
head and heart.
well, a lot of it's all on your own personal experience, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Most people that have a business that is their passion business. So I had a 16-year corporate marketing career. I ran multi-million-pound launches for big household brands, and I was a person that would make sure everything happened as it was meant to on the day it was meant to. So I ran big teams of 30, 40 people, and it was a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation, plus what I added to that because I had very high standards myself. And I got a lot out of my corporate career. I learned a huge amount and I did incredibly well. So that was all brilliant. But what I sacrificed was me within all of that. I felt like I had to change who I was. I lost the really hard edges of myself because I kind of just wanted to fit in. And I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And I was given feedback that I was over emotional or overreactive, or sometimes, you know, you're a bit too loud and a bit too much. You just quieten down, you do so much better. So I kind of sacrificed who I was to do well in my career. And the other part of what happened during that time is also, unfortunately, my marriage broke down. So I ended up after that suffering from severe anxiety and depression. I was a high functioning depressive, so I was still going to work, I was still doing my job, but then I would go home and numb myself with wine, or I might take a young man home with me. And I just felt, I looked in the mirror, I didn't like what I saw, I didn't know who I was, I'd never known who I was. So I kind of went on this, I had this very low point, and my kind of moment of truth, I call it, what do I call it? Fuck it moment. My fuck it moment was my mum ringing me about my dad, who's struggling with depression at the same time due to some things at work, and just telling me, guess how many words your dad said to me today. And my dad's like me, like my dad would go to Waitrose and he'll be there for 2 hours because he bumps into someone that he thinks he knows, or that he suddenly knows, or a friend or something. So he's exactly like me in that respect. He just talk for Britain. And suddenly he was just this grey introverted version of himself that just didn't want to be with anyone or do anything, and he just lost this will to live. And it was incredibly sad to see. My mum was kind of managing and supporting through it. He said 5 words to me today. He said yes, and he said no, and he said, I can't do this anymore and I need some help. So I said, Mum, how can I help you? He said, well, I just think I could come and stay with you for a couple of weeks and hopefully, you know, make sure Dad's got some support and people checking in on him, but I just need a bit of time. And I realised at that moment that I couldn't do it, and I didn't have the physical, the capacity or the emotional energy to help her. And I said no. And that moment was like, for me, a complete wake up moment of like, I can't go on like this. Like I need to do something about this. And, you know, to be in a position where you can't help the people that have loved you most in the world, have done the most for you, and they continue to do that to this day, and I love them to bits. My dad is brilliant now, by the way. He's absolutely great again. So kind of came back plus, like dad plus almost. So he's brilliant. So that started a journey for me, and there's 3 parts to my journey. So the first part was I fell in love, probably like Julie, I fell in love with nutrition, and I did a 10-day detox. I felt freaking horrific for like the first 5 days, and then I was like a woman reborn. Honestly, it just made me fall back in love with food. It made me fall back in love with how eating the right things and not what I thought were the right things could help you to have like a much clearer head and not feel bloated and not feel tired so much, and just feel energized and like raring to go. And that just set me up. I was like, right, I'm an all-in kind of girl. I'm going to go all in on this. I'm going to geek out. And I spent 18 months studying nutritional therapy with a big company in the UK, became a nutritional therapist. So that started the first part of my journey. Second part of my journey, I walked into a CrossFit gym. I saw a lot of men that were very ripped with their tops off, and I was like, whatever this is, I want to do a lot of this with all of you very often. So I then again went all in. Went on, girls doing amazing things that I'd never seen girls do before in terms of what they were lifting, just incredible. And I just got swept up the excitement and the energy, and just so again went all in. Became a strength and conditioning coach, became a British weightlifting coach, became a CrossFit coach, became a regional weightlifting masters champ, mainly because I'm old and fairly strong, I suppose, for like being, because I'm quite old. And and out of that, I just fell in love, back in love with what I could do with my body, in terms of I could get really strong, I could feel myself properly, my body could change shape. Just that confidence in what you can do, like doing stuff that I never thought I could do, because I was a happy but unhappy jogger. I hated jogging, but I made myself do it because I felt like I had to. So that was the second and then the final part was the part that is relevant to what I do today. So I went on a weekend course. By this point, I'd run an outdoor boot camp business that had developed into a transformation studio. So I ran a transformation studio for women in a rugby club, ironically. And I had women that came in that just wanted to feel good about themselves again. So I helped them with their nutrition, I helped them with their training. So I went on this weekend course, and it was really to help them to kind of stick to their plans and really get the most from their investment. And what I realized, I just remember this weekend, because I spent the whole weekend crying. I was sat in this mundane grey meeting room in a lawyer's office in London, and I just cried my heart out. And I cried because I was being taught about noggin knowledge, as I call it now, and the noggin knowledge of how I'd felt through the end of my marriage, how I'd felt through my depression, anxiety, like all the things that I'd struggled with through my whole life, that at the root of it was not feeling enough. At the heart of that was like the fact that I'd thought I was weak, I thought I was lazy, I thought I was stupid, I thought I wasn't pretty enough, not clever enough, or successful enough, and I wasn't ever enough. But all of that related to I hadn't understood at all how my brain was designed and evolved to work. And the fact that actually, yes, we're all different individuals, but our brains are all programmed in the same way. Men and women are different, but there's certain parts of the brain that need certain things at certain times. And I let go of years of judging myself, years of being hard on myself, years of blaming myself. And it was just like this whole, I don't know, eureka moment of like, oh my God. And the release I felt that weekend was just so huge. It's like, I just remember sat there thinking, if I can feel this different in 2 days, and yes, there was still a lot of work to do. Yes, I was still struggling with anxiety and depression, but if I can feel this different in 2 days, how different can I help other women to feel? So I spent the last 6 or 7 years geeking out. One particular mentor, I've probably done everything that he's ever done, because I'm just like a sponge. Again, went all in, I've geeked out, and I've taken everything that I've learned and I've put it into structures and process. So now I have a 5-step clarity and confidence structure to bring you back home to who you are, which is at the heart of all my programs, which is all about closing that gap of understanding of who we are. And we're so busy now that we don't take time to connect to ourselves, distracted by social media or by our phones or by being always on, and we lose that connection to ourselves. So we spend zero time getting to know ourselves, where I have the honor of helping these brilliant women to become the world leading expert in themselves, because no one else is going to do that for you. And out of that comes whatever comes out. It might be a new business, a change in career, it might be the end of a marriage or a start of a relationship. It's whatever you need comes out of that process, and it's truly an honor to help my clients through that. So yeah, that wasn't hugely quick, I know.
Perfect.
That was comprehensive.
Yeah, we can end it now. Thanks. So, I've got a few questions. I'm just gonna rattle off.
Yeah.
So, probably one of the big things for me is obviously being a man. I know that a woman's brain is we're different. I know that, and I get it.
Hugely.
So, one of the big things is women and self-sabotage. Just give us a little insight into why that happens.
Yeah.
Why because guys do it too. We all do it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Women, I find especially,
Yeah.
they'll be getting awesome results with me and Gillian, or working with one of us, and then all of a sudden they go and do something mental, and we're going,
what?
Who's going to finish it? So tell us about self-sabotage. I think that's
yeah, no, it's a great question. Self-sabotage is a really, really interesting one, because we think it is, we think it's our weakness, we think it's our fault, we tend to blame ourselves, and I'm just a self-sabotager. I get to a certain point, I self-sabotage. It's like, first of all, self-sabotage is an absolute myth. It's not even a real thing in the way that we think it is. We think it's us being weak, or is weak the word? Yeah, we're kind of letting ourselves down, we're to blame. Whereas actually the brilliant news is self-sabotage is just another brain process. So the amazing thing to learn is that this is not your fault, but you can change how you do things. So self-sabotage happens because we set our goals and our vision and our learning. All of that happens in a part of our brain, which is our human brain at the front of our head here, so just behind our forehead. That is our prefrontal cortex. It's where we're human. It's where we grow, where we learn, we develop, and we evolve. So that part of the brain, it's all about the growth and development. So when we're in it, we feel like it's exciting, we're in flow, we kind of feel we're very clear-headed, we're cracking on.
It makes sense, right? That bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of the sensible part of the brain almost.
Yes, but it's also you being yourself. It's
Yeah.
you being your most true form of yourself. So we want you to stay in that as much as possible. When you're self-sabotaging, something will have triggered you to take you back into another part of your brain, which is right at the back here near the brain stem. You've probably got that knobbly bit at the back of your head like me. Mine's massive, I don't know why.
I feel in our heads.
We've got interactive. So it's still there. That's your animal part of your brain, is around there. So your animal part of the brain was the first part of the brain to evolve. That part of the brain is triggered when there's not enough prediction response. So the brain's biggest job is safety above anything else, and that part of the brain is purely focused on making sure that you wake up tomorrow morning. So when you break a routine or a structure or a habit, if it's too much, the brain will take you back into your animal brain, and that is where you self-sabotage, because what you're basically doing, you take yourself out your human brain, you're going into your animal brain. That part of the brain just goes back to something called your amygdala, like the filing cabinet of your brain, and it just chooses the most relevant response. So say, for example, if you'd had a row with your partner and then you'd gone home and you'd eaten ice cream. If that's your play through normal response, the brain is looking for safety because you don't have safety in your relationship at the moment, if that makes sense. So the brilliant thing to do is just to know that actually it's just a brain process and mechanism. Like self-sabotage generally means you're making too much change too quickly. It generally means that there's something that you don't have certainty on. It generally means that you need to come back to your human brain and come out of your animal brain, which is all about creating safety. But for someone to say, oh, I ate a tub of ice cream last night because I had a row with my partner, it's not self-sabotage as we know it. It's purely you've gone from one part of the brain to the other. You need to understand that and learn what are your ways and methods of coming out of your animal brain and back into your human brain. So great question, because it's really, I hate seeing stuff online about people saying, of self-sabotage and fuck this. It's like, that's just a brain process. And I think that partly what drives me on so much to share all this stuff, just because it's like, don't blame yourself for something. It isn't your fault. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to do something about it. But as Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you can do better. But until you do better, you can, right? So
so it's like I suppose it's your subconscious brain, isn't it? Just coming into play. Then it's that hardwired whatever behavior that you've probably developed over many many years, or
the hardwired instant response. That part of the brain overrides any other part of the brain. It's the most reactive, it's the quickest. It just neutralizes any thoughts of future or goals or anything else. It's just going, how do we get back to safety? What is safety here? Oh yeah, it's this old reaction of eating ice cream. That's safety. We'll go back to that. And you are subconscious thinking.
And in that respect, I guess men and women are the same, because men do that too. I do it sometimes. I know I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of differences in brain setup, if you like, for men and women, but there's a lot of similarities, and the biggest similarities were basically the brain. If you take nothing away from this, like the brain's biggest job is safety above anything. It's your job to make yourself happy, and part of that is staying as human as possible, as much as possible, and creating a life where you have a lot of stability and prediction response. So the way I teach and coach that is, life will always throw you curveballs of viruses, children getting ill, jobs, all that sort of stuff. Therefore, what bigger stability and control and safety can you have than knowing yourself inside out? Does that make sense? It kind of links together the noggin on it, like know you inside out, because life will always throw you a curveball, knock you off your feet. You have that stability and that clarity and confidence in yourself. You always have that to come back to, and you plug that gap of understanding with these layers of, this is who I am, this is my self-identity.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. No, it's fascinating. I'm
Bring up.
So how, like, and I get it. I get that a lot of the times. It's like going, I know I do it. I know. So a lot of people know that they do it. They know that maybe they'll devour, you know, and it's usually eaten, isn't it? Sometimes. Well, that's what I come up a lot. It's usually eaten. But how, you know, have you some ideas of how people can kind of start to address what they do and can help them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it all links into a bigger thing of us, I think, not having that ongoing connection to ourselves. So imagine from the moment we wake up, like most people will not take any time for themselves. They'll probably hit snooze a few times, you know, then think, oh shit, I'm running late, and then get up and be in a rush and shower, children, out the door, you know, all of that happens like in a whirlwind. So it's part of it has to be, you have to focus on a daily check-in with yourself, you know, especially like the world changes daily at the moment. So it's really, really important to have that daily. So where can you start? So we're going to go into techniques about individual things, but a really brilliant place to start with all of this is just like make a daily commitment to check in with yourself. So some people like to write that in journals. Some people like to speak it like on an app like Otter or on their phone. Some people just like to share it with their partner, you know, just getting them just to listen. But it is like, it's just stop, breathe, hand on heart, slow everything, and just ask, how do I feel today? Because we just don't do that. We're human beings, yet we're in doing mode constantly rather than letting ourselves be. So even if at the beginning and the end of a day you can have 5 minutes, and I call it like your cup of tea voice, the voice of what you most want. Like A, I love tea, but B, it's that, you know, even with a cup of tea, we sit down for 5 minutes, don't we? Just, you know, just relax and just stop. And in that time, you just put your hand on your heart and deep breath, say, how do I feel today? What is going on with me? And it's almost like you're dusting away the cobwebs in your brain, because you're like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. That makes sense. Rather than, you know, your partner did something yesterday, you're still pissed off today, and you know, explode at work and you shout at someone because of something that happened that's not actually related to that at all. It's almost like you're unpacking the luggage every day. Does that make sense? You're carrying with you, like, you don't need to carry that with you.
Awesome. Cool. I'm being nosy, right? I can see a book in the corner. Have you got? Is that Patrick Holford's book on your shelf?
Yes, from my Fitness World days. Yeah.
Awesome book. Sorry, I just saw it. And I had to.
How did you spot that?
I've been eating my.
I've got anything in it.
Can you zoom in or something?
Do you know what it was? It's the wine of it.
What else have I got out?
Be careful.
We're sweet the room if we do that. pre Hawkeye.
This right here, just anyway. Cool. So where you work with these high performers who are you know, directors and all that kind of stuff. What do you find it a struggle to get them to just chill out? Because I'd see it with the ladies that I coach, you know, they're busy, they're managers and all that kind of stuff. And getting them to chill out and just take 5 minutes is hard work. Like I can get them to do burpees easier.
Then they're in doing mode, right?
Yeah. It's like so results driven, isn't it? So
exactly.
Want something. It's another task. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to tick that off we're very to-do list driven. Yeah, it is. It's really hard. And like, being really honest, I really pretty much burnt out at the end of last year. I did 3 launches within 6 months in a new way that I'd never done it before. And I had nearly 1,000 women go through 5-day challenges with me. I set up a new program. I've had nearly 60 women join it. And, you know, how does that process, you know, what is that, you know, all that sort of stuff, plus VIP clients, plus my first corporate contract come through just recently and stuff. And it was amazing. Like, my whole business dynamic changed within 6 months, but I was fucking fried. I remember really clearly on Christmas Eve, I had my partner's Polish, so they celebrate Christmas Eve more than Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And his mum, who's got a little bit of ration mentality, bless her, she's probably quite useful at the moment actually, but that's a whole other thing. She'd gone and bought, we had 2 whole salmons to bake, or we baked a whole salmon for Christmas Eve, and I was doing it because my partner was at work doing a on-call shift. So I just remember like being in the kitchen baking the salmon, and I just started crying. And then his mum's all like upset that I'm crying, and I'm like, she said, what's wrong? I said, I'm just tired, like my body is aching, like, I feel guilty that I'm not online because I feel like I should be doing something. I want to be properly with you, but I'm trying to switch my brain off from like 6 months of, you know, madness in my business, but amazing. And I'm just tired. Like, I cannot like wake up and I'm still tired. I wake up from a good night's sleep and I'm just, so I've had to look at my business really hard for the last 3 or 4 months and just start to create more time and space. And it's not perfect, but it's definitely an improver. I'm an improver with it. And I've said to people even over the last few weeks, and my clients as well, I find it easier still to dial up than I do dial down. My partner is actually, he's like a trainee surgeon in a hospital, so he's frontline at the moment. He's got this really great way of, when he comes home, he'll say what he needs. So if he wants to go, and he's like 5'10", big ex-rugby player in the Navy, and he'll go and have a bath with candles. And then he'll play computer games for an hour.
Right.
Which, you know, that's out of work, home, relax. Right now I'm available for you, Nick. And I think we could all learn a lesson from that. What is your go-to? Like, what are the things that help you switch off? And I call it, yes, the women I work with really do struggle, but I really challenge them to say a couple of things, but I call it on, and off. So if you're in work and you're going for it and it's, you know, going really well and you're just getting stuff done, that's on. That's you and your purpose and your passion. Then if you get home, what you want to be able to do is be off. So off, the phone is off, your laptop is off, you're not thinking about work. And there has to be something to help with that switch off. The bit we all get a bit fucked with is when we're on/off. And I remember when I lived on my own, I live with my partner now, I lived on my own, I thought, oh, I'll just do a few bits whilst I'm watching, you know, something or other. So I'm not truly switching off watching a great film.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Not really working particularly well. And there has to be that point when you say, do you know what, for today, that is enough for today. So how to start with things like that, set some boundaries. And, you know, even if it's just a very simple boundary to start with. So a recent client that joined me, she's got a business that is, you know, grown, but she's now at a point where it's pretty steady because she's done a lot of the hard work. So she doesn't work Fridays, and she was trying to word, you know, even wording me out of office, or maybe, you know, it won't look good if I'm not available to them. It's like, right, there's not going to be such an emergency. Give them an emergency number for emergencies only, but just say you're not available on Friday. You don't need to justify what you're doing or why you're doing it. And she started doing that now, and 2 days a week she goes in a little bit later to go to a gym class because that's what suits her. 2 days a week she won't, 1 day a week she won't travel, and she'll just be in the office with her assistant. And, you know, that has really shifted. She was kind of thinking it anyway, but we just put it into like, right, boundaries, let's start here. Mm-hmm. And if you feel really uncomfortable, boundaries tend to be a little bit of, they can be quite a hard reset. Because if you've had no boundaries before, people are going, well, why? What are you doing? Like, why are you not available? Yeah. I say to any people starting a business or anyone, you know, even at the moment with being at home more, you know, just set some boundaries of like when you finish work, set some boundaries of like not working on certain days and honor it. Because your business won't fall apart from you having half a day with your partner or something, or, you know, a weekend with your family, or finishing at 5 rather than 8 o'clock. Like, you need that, your brain needs that to recharge, and you need that to just, if you think about it as well. So brain waves, when you're busy, very close together, spiky and high. When you're relaxed, they're long and looping. So if you're in busy mode and they're like, there's no room for the great idea, if you're chilling the fuck out, and those brain waves are, I can never, gamma and beta, can never remember which way around they are, but anyway, yeah. Long and looping ones, that's when you have the ability for the great idea, which is why it'd be on the dog walk, or when you're showering, or you're cooking dinner, and you're like, oh my God, it's just comes to me. It's because you're letting your brain breathe and percolate and just be there, ticking over in the background rather than constantly on.
Absolutely. So there you go, folks. Big one, just to slow down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say I am totally guilty of that. I kind of fall into, well, you see, I'm not a TV person, so, but I'll sit with my husband, but I'll probably do something while he's watching the TV show. So and because I'm like, what? I'm not really bothered about the TV program, so I may as well do something. But
yeah, but you're not properly with him. There's like a barrier between you.
yeah, I know.
Wow.
Sorry.
To be
I
clear,
knew she was going to say that. Don't you worry. I knew she would say that.
so I'm not just randomly telling her off.
No, Karen, I'm enjoying this. This is good. More.
No. All right.
Damage, woman.
Yeah.
Nothing is no thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's no thing. Like, you don't need, your value and worth isn't reliant on your crossing off your fucking to-do list. It's inherent within you. And actually, you have more value and worth if you've rested and you've had some time off. Like, I can't do the stuff that I do, and I'm a huge empath. I can't do the coaching that I do if I'm exhausted and I'm annoyed and I'm frustrated. Like, I'm just not the best coach.
Yeah.
So it has meant changes in my business, and it will mean more, but that is as it should be, because I want to have more impact. That happens through, I'm not going to grow my business by trying to do it all myself. I'm going to grow my business by finding the right people, creating a team. You know, when it comes to it, all I want to do is show up and speak, either coaching or sharing content or writing a book. Like, writing or speaking, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's the big problem, isn't it? That unless you're doing something, that means you're not working, if that makes sense. And I think that's probably the culture we've all grown up with, right? We've all come from corporate, we've all been there, we've all been managers or whatever in corporate, so we all have that issue.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it started even, for me personally, it started even earlier than that for me. So my parents were very hardworking. My dad did pretty well, which meant my mum, we had to, you know, work really hard to make the money stretch, but my mum stayed off whilst we were very young, stayed off work. And I just saw my dad sacrifice a lot so that we could have a great childhood. And I, you know, I can't say there wasn't anything bad in my childhood. I just saw this example though, day in, day out, in what they said, what they felt, what they thought, what they did, that was, you need to work. You know, you need to cut your cloth accordingly. You need to work harder. Dad sacrificed, mum sacrificed, mum making our clothes, making meals stretch, dad going off to work in all weathers in his fucking Honda 90 over the Tamar Bridge. Like, just read the fact that he's going to get blown off that thing one day. And, you know, they made all of that for us. So I just have this inbuilt framework that has always, until very recently, been, if you don't have what you want, you can just work harder. Mm-hmm. But at the end of last year, like, you know, crying over cooking a fucking salmon for your family, that was a wake-up call. Like, you can't do this anymore, Nick. You cannot do this. So it's so important for us to learn to slow down and create time and space. And I don't mean to sound flippant, and I know everyone's busy, and even more so at the moment. But like I said, like, don't, you know, it's not going to be an expensive spa day at the moment anyway, but it doesn't need to be a big whole day. It can literally be, go out for a longer dog walk. It can literally be, get your trainers on and go for a 5-minute walk run. It can literally be, get a fucking cup of tea and just sit down and shut the door for 5 minutes. Or hide in the bath from your children.
Lock the door.
Clients, with my VIP clients telling me about, I've lit my, so I'm going to go and have this amazing bath. I want that to be like one of my things that I do switch off. So brilliant. So what happened? She said, well, I had it all set up, and I'd run the water, I had the candles, I had some music, I had my iPad, and I'm like, had a glass of wine. I'm like, oh my God, perfect. And the only thing she didn't do, she forgot to bolt the door. So basically, one of her children came flying in and said, Mummy, I need a poo. I got all this like amazing bath set up, and then one of her children just sat on the loo next to her and she's going, oh, school error.
Never do that again.
No.
Oh, no way. So yeah, and it's much like when, even, you know, what Greg and I, like, we talk to our clients about fitness and everything, and, you know, they keep, you know, you don't have to kill yourself with like workouts to make changes to your bodies, you know, and it's the same thing, you know, you've got to do some, we all like a little bit of, there's some stress is good in our lives. It makes us do things, it makes us go after what we want, you know, but then there's that recovery that you need as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You think it's almost like, it's like a muscle forming, isn't it? You know, you create pain to make change, but I think I almost feel like we see it as we need to suffer to make change, and there is elements of that, but there's two drivers of change. You either push, you take yourself away from the pain, or you pull towards the pleasure.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty much done with running away from the pain. So I want to is towards the pleasure now. I've actually, you know, I've got a great business. I love what I do, but I'm not going to sacrifice like my weekends anymore. I'm not going to sacrifice, you know, all the time in the world for it, because I live with a man that I love that is going through a lot, working on the front line right now, and I want to be there to support him. I want to be there as our dog mum, not all the time because they drive me mental some days. But you know, and I want a family, and that doesn't happen when I'm working. You know, I can't do that working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, it's been a real crossroads recently, and I just say for anyone listening, like you're not the best of yourself. It's actually selfish to carry on. It's like, I think selfish is such what's the word? Just a misinterpreted word, because a little bit selfish, you come back to, like, say if you go and have the bath and it all goes well and you don't have children bursting in, you come back out of that and you're relaxed again and you're connected to yourself and you've checked in with how you're feeling and you've had time to relax, and you know, you've washed, for me, and being an empath as well, water washes away emotions. Like you kind of process a day, then you can be present with your children, then you can have that difficult conversation with your partner, then you can cook a lovely dinner and feel relaxed rather than, oh my god, I've got all these things to do. So it's, you know, just set those full stops on the day, and just, it's so important now, I think, more than ever. So yeah, I think I know we talked about it before and we weren't going to hugely mention, but I just think what we're going through now is like a hard reset on where we need to be and how we need to live our lives, because we weren't listening. So it's like, right, okay, hard reset, here you go, deal with this. You will slow down, you will appreciate. Do you know what's pushed me hugely into gratitude? I don't know if you feel the same. Like, I'm so grateful for the life that I have. I'm so grateful for the clients that I work with. I'm so grateful at the moment that I can be serving like my community through something really difficult, because I teach and coach clarity and confidence. Like, how I had a real wobble last, oh my god, should I show up, what should I say?
Yeah,
actually it's really important. I can teach you some very basic stuff to help you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, we kind of all felt that. And one thing, yeah, like you said, with the gratitude, it was like, yeah, kind of like thought, do you know what, I am one of the lucky ones because of the changes I've already made. That, you know, I was chatting to, we were meant to have a surprise 40th from one of my friends in Manchester, but obviously it all got cancelled and everything else, and that was on Saturday, but we did a surprise Zoom call for her. So, and you know, we were all just chatting around about, you know, they've got kids, they've got jobs, and they're all like, how are you going to do this, how are you going to do that? And they went to me and I'm like, I pretty much just carry on as I am, to be honest. You know, it doesn't, and I don't say that to be, oh yeah, I'm so, you know, look at me. I mean it like, I'm just so, at this moment, and so relieved I made those choices now. So
yeah, I think it'll push a lot of people, hopefully, when we get through the people being silly, like back into huge gratitude what they have, and like the fact that we can store food in our fridge and we can have the money to go out and buy food or order food, and we live, you know, you're waking up still in your warm house. Like, my granddad was a desert rat in the Second World War, and he spent 3 years away. So my middle auntie, he didn't see it until she was 3 years old. That is sacrifice, that is hardship, that is living life, you know, for other people, and giving away your life for 3 years to defend what we live for. And not to get really deep for a moment, but you've been told to stay at home for 2 weeks. Like, you know, compare that to my granddad being away for 3 fucking years and only speaking to my nan through letters. My grand,
yeah,
you know, it's not comparable. It's just, yeah, it makes me quite angry. So.
Yeah.
Isn't there a thing, me and Gillian were talking about this beforehand, about we don't like being told what to do. So it's almost that case of, right, the government's told us what to do, so therefore we're going to rebel now. You know, so, you know, me and Gillian might have a client who's like, right, you know, you need to track your calories. And some will go, oh yeah, I'll track some.
Yeah.
Some will go, oh, I'll track it to the T.
Yeah.
Others will go, yeah, I'm gonna go and see someone who's gonna tell me I need a metabolic reset.
Yeah.
Love those, don't we?
Yeah. So
when do your liver detox while you're at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's some, but it's really weird. I mean, I think the beautiful thing about this today is that it's like we've had a few other guests on. I mean, I had a lady called Tammy on before. We had Cliff and Marta Wild on recently as well, and you now as well. And we're all kind of talking about the same thing. So people, listen up, chill out, you know.
Yeah, I think until it gets really near to people, they're not going to listen. So one of my clients, one of her friends is really quite ill at home with it. It's starting to hit home now. Like my partner's seeing people in the hospital or knowing of people in the hospital. Like it is getting real. Wherever you are in the country now, it's getting real and it's getting close. And I wonder if it will take that for people to go, right, oh shit, my behaviour is not acceptable. And it's that I can understand if you know, we talked about brains earlier and there's 3 different parts of the brain, but I think a lot of people are almost in animal brain reaction of, you know, the panic buying and the fear mongering and the, you know, the spreading of rumors. And I don't think they're trying to be bad people. I think they're just scared and they're just showing it in a way that it's just a little bit reactive rather than responsive, where, you know, I thankfully have got a lot of techniques now and I can teach and coach that to my audience of actually, you know, breathe and calm. What is in your control? What is not in your control? What is the data here? What is the drama? What can you do right now? What is going to help you? What is going to help you to feel good in difficult situation? And, you know, having those tools means that I'm not going to be stuck in my animal brain for all this. I kind of did all that last week. I was going off to work for a 12-hour shift and I'm like sobbing my heart out because my gym's closed, you know, but it took that moment. It's like that is starting to bite. It's starting to hit me in my life now. So, you know, it's that it will get closer and closer to people. And it is that I think actually it's a huge opportunity to do all the things that people have talked about for ages in their lives. So do the declutter, paint the fucking bathroom, sort your garden out, finish the course that you never finished properly, communicate more than ever with your family and friends, like through all the amazing technology we have. It's a hard reset that could be incredible for us if we take it on and just think, right, how am I going to make the most of this time? And you've been given a gift of time. Like, I'm too busy at work, I'm too busy with this. It's like, well, you know, I don't see my family enough. And now it's like, well, yeah, homeschooling is going to be a challenge, but it's also, you can make some magic memories through that once you get through the, how's it work?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? We've actually almost got the time that we always moan about we don't have.
Yeah, it's not the reason we wanted it for.
Everyone wants it on their own terms, don't they?
Yeah.
You potentially now have it. Some people obviously don't, but you know, a lot of us will have. So embrace it. If life happens for you, not to you, if you choose it to. If you choose to, you can't argue with the reality of this. It's coming down the line and it's going to be here very soon. So put your time, attention, energy, focus, love into what you can control and what you can do about it and how you can support yourself and your loved ones, and you'll come for it with a richer experience. And I'm not denying some families are going to be awfully hit, but we don't know that right now, what that's going to be and who that is. So the more we look after ourselves now, the more we'll have energy to support those people as we go through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even got an email myself because obviously I'm a former biomedical scientist in the NHS.
Oh,
so
wow!
I am. So there's they are looking at people to go back on the register so that they may be pulled back in. Well, it's not an obligation like that. They say there may be opportunities. So I was like, oh.
Finger poster.
Yeah, I know, I'll be one of them. I was like, oh, didn't see that coming. I have to say, I didn't even think that would happen. But yeah, okay. You know, so and it was that moment for me when, yeah, okay, you know, this is coming. This is you know, this isn't. It's not fun anymore, guys.
When the tide gets pulled back before it starts like rapidly descending, it's like that at the moment.
Yeah. I think that's how it feels. So, but I think one thing, you know, that will come good out of it is people connecting again, real, and like, you know, really valuing face-to-face connection, but also now obviously we've got the technology to be connected to each other, and probably even more so, like, you know, than what people were before.
Yeah. I did a Zoom call with my girlfriends on Friday and we did 2 hours of giggling and laughing, and couldn't hug them, which was a bit sad, but the rest of it was just you know, as per normal. It was lovely. It was so nice.
Yeah.
You know, some of us sat there with ice cream, some with wine, you know, like everyone just like a normal evening, we'd see each other, but just not together. So I remember laughing at one of our friends whose little boy had for some reason decided to put a charcoal face mask on and then was pulling it off. So the way he pulled it off, it meant he had sideburns that like Wolverine. What is my life like watching on a Friday night, this boy trying to pull off like Wolverine?
Brilliant.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we always like to kind of ask for kind of 4 takeaways that people can take from this call and this podcast. And what are the 4 most important things you think people should take away from this?
Oh gosh.
No pressure.
Tell me this, did you? I didn't get the brief.
All right.
That's the whole point.
So 4 things to take away. First thing is become the world-leading authority in yourself, especially if you're going to have time now. Like it's on you to do that. No one else is going to do that for you. It's no one else's responsibility. So, you know, what do you stand for? What do you stand against? What do you believe in? What are your values? What is your magic? How do you speak to yourself? What is your story? And just start on the road with, you know, number 1 then, that's number 1. Number 2, start on that road with that daily connection to yourself. How do I feel today? Whatever way works for you, whether that's writing, speaking, sharing, whatever. The important part is you get that daily connection to yourself. Number 3 is start becoming selfish to become selfless. So start to create time for you each week. So all my clients and everyone in my communities, we talk about a love list, and a love list is, I'm a very simple Cornish girl at heart, so a list of things that you love doing that's just for you. So have that list and just pick 1 or 2 things off it a week that you love doing, that is, you know, you're reminding yourself of your value and your worth, because you're investing that time, money and effort into yourself. So, and especially at the moment, you know, does that need to change? What are the things that you can do at home? And just, you will go back to everything else feeling more energized and more focused and being able to be in it properly. So that's number 3. Number 4 is honor yourself and your value and worth with boundaries, and just, you know, make that change of start with just meeting yourself where you are. So even if it's, I'm not going to work weekends anymore, or I'm going to finish at this time, you know, just set even more so than ever, with everyone maybe potentially being together quite a while. You know, what are your boundaries? What do you need? And it is going to be a hard reset. People might react, but actually it's worth doing it for your own sanity, your own value and your own worth. So set those boundaries and just be really clear on them and just honor them as much as you can. Like I have pretty strict work boundaries now, but if a client really needed to be outside of that, I would, but it's a conscious choice, and it's the exception rather than the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So
love that.
Mm-hmm.
I see so many people like, oh, I've just got to stay at work, and I'm like, but that half an hour job is going to be there tomorrow anyway.
Exactly.
But it's a conveyor belt, so why do you need to do it now? Yeah, but I just feel no. Leave work, go home. Yeah, but no. Yeah, go.
So those are probably my top 4, and you know, getting to geek out on something during all of this. Go and you know, get your geek on. Go and learn something.
Nick, what have I found? I've got big magic bag. I've because I was over with my mother-in-laws, and we've got the rest of our stuff all back after we moved. It's only almost 2 years since we got the rest of our stuff. But I'm reunited with all my books again, so I've got like big magic in there. So I'm like,
happy for you.
Yeah. So yeah.
Because I'm about to I'm diving into this right now.
Oh, are you? What's it? Chimp Paradox, is it? Yeah.
Is Animal Brain is chimp. Yeah. I didn't get a computer. I didn't know where that fitted into my 3 brain model. I say my 3 brain theory has been around a long time with many people, but
would that not be the medulla?
The amygdala is the processing center of the brain.
Yes, I guess that's the computer, I guess.
Yeah.
But similar theory, I guess. Similar theory.
Yeah, similar-ish, yeah.
Yeah, fab, Nicola. Well, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for coming on, and
very welcome.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you. You all right, Greg? You gonna?
Yeah, we've forgotten one thing, haven't you?
Oh yeah. I always ask I do this silly little thing at the end. Greg rolls his eyes. No, it's called the Fit and Fabulous podcast. I have lots of favorite F words. I like fit, I like fabulous, I like food, I like fitness, I like freedom.
Not mentioning the most obvious one, are you?
No. So do you have a favorite F word, Nick?
Yes.
What?
You know me a little bit. You know me quite a lot. What do you think it is? It's a sexy one. Yeah. We're going to do a lot of that, aren't we, basically, if we're in lockdown. So I think there'd be a massive baby boom, won't there, in like December, January.
Yeah.
What's the favourite F word?
Fuck.
Okay.
I need to come up with a different question, I think.
I would have been more.
Well, we like to swear as well, though, actually. I do like it as like when I get passionate.
It's a good expression, yeah.
Yeah, it just pops out. It's just like passion rather than, just a putty mouth, I think.
Can you not say that? I would have said like fornication.
Oh, that sounds boring, isn't it? It's like,
that's textbook, isn't it? That's like biblical, isn't it?
How old are you? Oh my god! I know it's a word that I could have said without swearing, but I like the other word. That sounds more like what I want than your word, if I'm honest. God, I'm gonna be struck down.
See, I told you two were impacting my angelic self. I told you.
Yeah. Cool, brilliant, Nick. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
You're welcome.
So for anyone else as well, if they want to know more about you, Nick, where's best to get you and find out more about what you do?
There's a few places. So I am on Facebook as Nicola Buckley, so you can come and friendly stalk me. Don't weird stalk me. That's just not great. Yeah. I have a free community called the Clarity and Confidence Community, so come in there. We're going to do a Calm and Clarity Day on Wednesday. Jilly is part of that, so we've got 12 hours of 12 brilliant guests taking over the group. And I'm going to be running a Confusion to Clarity challenge. I've just launched it today. That's going to be on the 20th of April. So at the moment, I think, again, do you do it, do you not? Actually, I think it's needed more than ever right now. So yeah, so I'll share some links to those anyway, so people can find those really easily. So yeah, but I've loved today. Thank you.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant and lovely to catch up with you as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We'll have to do it more often. So, but yeah, thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. Lots of love to everyone.
Yeah, you too, Nick. All the best.
Bye.
And see you everyone. Bye.